चलो start करते हैं. So today we'll go for a journey from .NET developer to Azure Cloud Engineer. How to upgrade from .NET developer to Azure Cloud Engineer. Just we'll go through some basics of the cloud. Then we'll go for why companies use cloud, major cloud provider comparison. What is Microsoft Azure? Learning basics of cloud in Azure. So why .NET developers stuck and why Azure for .NET developers? Roadmap and skills required to be a Azure engineer or cloud engineer. So we have designed two courses to upgrade from .NET developer to, we can say, Azure cloud engineer. So I will explore them. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll try to learn or understand so cloud computing basics. So what is cloud computing and why companies are using it? What is cloud computing? So traditionally, companies use physical servers in their offices or data centers. They had to buy the hardware, maintain it, upgrade it, and manage the failures. Now, if you want to host and run your applications, especially web applications, so the traditional approach was so companies used to buy the servers and create the data center at their offices, and they host the applications there. Now they need to do everything. So they had to buy the hardware, maintain it, upgrade it, and manage the failures, everything they need to do. Now, what cloud computing means? So in layman language, we can say so cloud computing nothing but rent the server, storage, database services, applications over the internet or on demand. Fine. So instead of buying the hardware and then doing the installation, configuration, maintenance, then allowing the end users to, or we can say, use your application. So what we do in the cloud computing, so we rent the server and we rent the storage, we rent the database, we rent the services, we rent the everything. So you can also rent the applications and you can consume them from internet and that will be on demand. So when you require it, use it. When you do not require it, you do not need to worry. So if you switch to the cloud computing or cloud, so what advantages you'll get? You don't need to worry about hardware. So you don't need to buy any hardware and maintain it. So you don't need to worry about the power, cooling, server infrastructure, server crashes, backup, failure, latency, so load balancing. So there are many things that you need to manage if you decided to go for traditional approach to host and run your applications of them. So from purchasing the hardware to managing the load balancing or we can say latency, server crashes, backup, failures, cooling, power, everything you need to manage it on your own. But if you switch to cloud computing, so as an app development company, so you do not need to do all these things. So with cloud computing, you simply focus on building the applications, so developing the applications and delivering the applications to the client to them. So you need to worry about only your application development lifecycle. You do not need to worry about the backend that is required to host and run your application. So why companies are moved to cloud? So faster time to market. So if you embed the hardware part or we can say infrastructure part inside your application development lifecycle, definitely you will take more time to deliver the application to the market because you need to worry about lot of many things from buying the hardware to configuring, installing, deploying everything. So you need to do that. Now, if you switch to the cloud, so you just focus on building the applications. You need to worry about only your application life cycle. So design, develop, test, and implement and deliver the application. So that definitely, if you switch to the cloud, so you get the faster time to market your application. So the no upfront infrastructure cost, so you do not need to do heavy investment in infrastructure because in traditional approach so you need to buy everything, but here so we can get the things on rent and we can run your application or we can deliver the application to the client without we can say upfront infrastructure cost of the easy scaling when user increases. So you don't need to worry in traditional approach if load going to increase, if number of users increases, you need to buy more hardware and then you need to configure it and then install it and deploy it. So you need to do all that stuff with that. But in case of a cloud, so scaling is very easy. You just need to do some few click of buttons and your scaling will be done. So new hardware will be automatically available with that. Now, high availability and reliability in the fast, since the cloud providers have huge data centers and state-of-art infrastructure, so their availability is very high as compared to your traditional servers that you host inside your offices or locally inside your office. So the reliability is again very fast, and the cloud providers upgrade their hardware and the required, we can say, infrastructure as per the we can say need of the industry or requirements. So it's highly available, reliable, and fast on them. Now, this is why every modern application today is cloud based. So now every company is running behind the cloud. They want to shift their applications from traditional servers to a cloud with them. And there is huge demand of the, we can say, cloud engineers. Now, so if you look at the cloud, so cloud basically has basically four part, but we are going to discuss only three part here. The first part is infrastructure as a service in a cloud. So you can offer the infrastructure as a service. So you create the infrastructure and you can rent that infrastructure to application development company. And if you are application development company, so you can use the already deployed infrastructure by any, we can say, cloud provider as a service. So you can consume it as a service. So PaaS, so first is, we can say IaaS and then PaaS and then SaaS. Now, PaaS is platform as a service. So, you cloud provider also provides you, we can say, platforms using which we can build the applications. We can develop the applications, or we can deploy the application. We can execute the applications, and cloud provider also expose the platforms as a service. And as application development company, you can consume it software as a service. So you can also many cloud provider also provide the software as a service. They give you the software on subscription basis, or you can consume that software directly. Fine. Now, what happens if you do everything on your own? So if you manage everything on your own, so you need to do all this stuff with that. So as a company, you need to do the networking, you need to manage the storage, you need to manage the servers, you need to manage the virtualization, you need to manage the operating system, middleware, runtime, data, applications, everything. So in traditional, we can say, a way of, we can say, consuming the applications or deploying the application, you need to do all the activities from this particular stack, from networking to application. And there are very many hidden factors that you need to worry about is backup, we can say, security. Beside that, you need to be worried about the cooling. You need to worry about the, we can say, physical security of your infrastructure. So you need to worry about lot many things if you host your application in traditional server inside your application. If you switch to the cloud, so if you are an application development company, or if you are end user, so if your company is the end user who is using the application, so we can take the advantage of the cloud by three ways. We can use infrastructure as a service, we can use the cloud platform as a service, or we can use the software as a service of that. Now, suppose some ex-application development company want to use cloud as a, we can say, IaaS, so infrastructure as a service. So that company need to manage only operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and application. So networking, storage, servers, virtualization, cooling, and all, we can say, security and physical infrastructure will be managed by the cloud provider. So instead of managing all the layers in, we can say, application delivery process, so what we can do, so we can use the cloud as we can say, infrastructure as a service. So we can use the cloud as a SaaS. Now, if you use, we can say, infrastructure as a service, so as an application development company, you need to worry about only operating system, middleware, runtime, data, and the applications of that. So, and the cloud provider will do the networking, storage, servers, and the virtualization. So, cloud providers will worry about the networking, storage, servers, and the virtualization there. So, networking, storage, servers, and the virtualization. So, infrastructure as a service, you will be worried about only the infrastructure part of, we can say, your application from operating system onwards. Now, if you use the cloud as a PaaS, or platform as a service, So then you don't need to worry about the we can say operating system middleware and time. So that is the headache of the cloud provider. So cloud provider will manage the networking, storage, servers, so virtualization, operating system, middleware, and runtime. So this green stack of them. And as an application development company, you just need to worry about the application and the data. So you just need to worry about the application and the data. You do not need to worry about the operating system, middleware, runtime, and other things of that. Now, sometimes you might be an end user company using a ERP provided by some, we can say, cloud provider. So you can use the software as a service. So in the software as a service, so everything will be managed by the cloud provider. Everything will be managed by the vendor who provide the cloud, as we can say, the software as a service. So cloud provider will manage the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, OS, middleware, runtime data. And these are the major components. Besides this, you'll find many minor components there in this particular list of that. So everything will be managed by the cloud provider. So, so this is the way you can utilize the cloud. You can utilize the cloud infrastructure as a service or platform as a service or software as a service of that. Now, if you go to the major cloud providers that we have here is Amazon. So AWS, we can say Amazon Web Services, then Microsoft Azure, and we can have the GCP, Google, we can say Cloud Pro, we can say platform. So you can use Google Cloud Platform or Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. These are the three major cloud providers. So we are saying these are three major cloud providers, but if you look at to the share, AWS had more than we can say near about more than 50% share of the cloud market, whereas Azure has more than we can say 44% share of that. So GCP has very small share in the cloud infrastructure. But GCP, Google Cloud Platform, is getting popularity because GCP, that is the Google Cloud provider, is native to machine learning and AI, and machine learning AI is becoming little, we can say, today's trend buzzword. So GCP is now getting little bit attention, but if you go 4 years or 5 years or 6 years back, so GCP was having only 2% of the market share of the cloud there, and maximum share is occupied by the AWS, so Amazon Web Services or Azure, Microsoft Azure there. Now that you understood the cloud computing, and next question, which cloud should you learn? So whether we go for the AWS or whether we go for the Azure, I'll not tell you to go for GCP. If you are a machine learning engineer or if your company are developing ML applications or AI applications, then you might go to the GCP. But if there is a mix, we can say type of thing with that. So application development plus ML and AI. So I'll prefer you to go to the Azure or AWS for that. Fine. Now, which one we should go for? So let us compare all these three providers. So who is the company behind the Azure? So behind the Azure, we have the Microsoft, and AWS, we have the Amazon, and we had GCP, we have the Google. Now, best for us, so Azure is designed by the Microsoft. So Azure is a Microsoft, we can say, cloud. So it's more compatible with the .NET and enterprise applications. So Azure is designed in Azure is the fastest cloud. So even Azure is more better and faster as compared to AWS when it comes for enterprise application development, or if you use the .NET as the application development platform. So that is the first choice as a .NET developer or .NET platform and enterprise applications. Now, AWS is available for all general activities. It's general cloud, so you can use it for website hosting to web application hosting or enterprise application hosting with that. Now, GCP is designed moreover to work with seamlessly with the data analytics, data science, machine learning, and AI. Now, language support. So Azure has excellent support for a .NET developer. So there are many integrated tools, services, and the features available in Microsoft Azure, which are integrated with the .NET. So if you are a .NET developer and if you want to switch or upgrade to a cloud, so Microsoft Azure will be a better choice here. Now, AWS is, it's not the case that Microsoft Azure is not available for other platforms. So Microsoft Azure is also available for Python, Java. So many companies are also hosting Java applications on the Azure. And AWS is for all languages. But as if you are a Microsoft developer, if you are using Microsoft technology from we can say past a few years, so you might got an idea that Microsoft always has we can say more additional features or services for .NET developers in all their product line, whether it is Office 365 or Microsoft Azure or any service. So it's more excellent for .NET and AWS for all languages. Now GCP is more in line with the Python and data related tools of that. Now, enterprise uses, so if you look at the enterprise application development, like applications hosted by the banks or we can say insurance companies or e-commerce companies or retail, we can say chains. So you'll find Azure is the first choice, a very high, we can say priority for the Azure. Now, AWS has a high priority and GCP has a medium priority of them. Now, DevOps tools, so if you want to use CI/CD, so continuous integration and deployment of them, then the preferred choice is Azure DevOps here. So that is again very popular technology that is used for CI/CD pipelines and GitHub. So GitHub is also compatible with Azure. If you go to the AWS, so if you want to implement CI/CD pipelines, so we need a code pipeline option that we have in AWS. Now GCP has cloud build. So you might heard about Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is the most popular technology so far, continuous integration and deployment of that. Now learning curve, so easy for .NET devs. If you are a .NET developer, so its preferred choice will be Azure, so easy for .NET dev. If you are a .NET developer, if you want to go with the AWS, little bit steep learning curve, and for GCP we have the moderate curve then. Now, demand in India. So, if you look at to the, we can say Indian market, you'll find very high demand for Azure and high demand for AWS and GCP demand is now growing because many Indian IT companies are now switching towards the, we can say AML AI. So slowly, so growing demand of GCP. Now, so what is Microsoft Azure? So as a .NET developer, we'll focus on Microsoft Azure. So we'll have little bit basics of the Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is Microsoft comprehensive, open and flexible cloud platform offering hundreds of services for building, deploying, managing the application and services through Microsoft global network of data centers, covering everything from basic computing, ISaaS to advanced AI and data analytics, PaaS and SaaS, allowing business to scale, innovate, reduce on-premises infrastructure cost of that. So Microsoft Azure is a, we can say, a cloud by Microsoft, and it's open, flexible cloud platform, and you'll find hundreds of services for that, and all these services can be used to build, deploy, manage, and so manage applications and services. And Microsoft has global network of data center, huge network of data center that covering everything from basic computing. So three parts of your basic computing is already covered here. So ISaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Beside this, Azure is now from last 4 or 5 years, Azure is modernized to work with ML and AI because .NET now got one, we can say, API or framework called ML.NET, using which we can create or implement the machine learning algorithms, whereas the Azure AI will help you to implement the AI applications using Microsoft Azure. Now, it will help you to innovate and reduce on-premises infrastructure cost of that. Right. Now, key aspect of the Azure, so why Azure is popular. So cloud computing, it provides essential IT resources like compute power, storage, networking over the internet, eliminating the need for physical hardware. Now, so what Azure provides you, the cloud computing service models offers infrastructure as a service, IaaS or platform as a service, PaaS or software as a service of them. Now, global reach, so leverage a worldwide network of data center for high availability and low latency. So huge network, actually AWS has a very large network, but Azure is now expanding very fast and it's fastest cloud we can say. So global reach leverage a worldwide network of data centers for high availability and low latency, open and flexible, support various operating systems, languages, tools, and frameworks, both Microsoft and third party. Right. So it's not closed, it's open. So you can use the Python or Java or we can say .NET or other languages. You can use R, Simuli, Smalltalk. So you can also use, we can say Google Language Go. So it's open and flexible. So you can use any language. It support all operating system. It support Linux, all we can say versions of the Linux. It support also we can say Windows and few implementations of the Unix of that. Now, tools and the frameworks, both Microsoft and third party of this. So it support Microsoft tooling and frameworks. Beside this, it support the third party tooling and we can say frameworks. Pay as you go. So that is one of the feature of the Azure. Now, if you go to the traditional application, we can say hosting and deployment. So you need to buy the hardware. You need to pay for everything. So here in cloud, whether it is Azure or AWS or GCP, all cloud has pay as you go model. So as you use X thing, so you will be charged for that particular use of that. Now, economical, as you only pay for the services you consume. So you don't need to pay for everything. So you need to pay only for services that you consume, and you need to pay only for that time period for which you used that particular services with that. So pay as you go model, that is again a very interesting model due to which the cloud is popular. Now, if you look at to the network of the Microsoft Azure, so you'll find Microsoft Azure covers 27 regions worldwide. So this is little bit old PPT. 22 online, huge capacity around the world, growing every year. Now you'll find more than 200 plus data center currently, and top we can say third network in the world, and 2.5x AWS and 7x Google DC regions of that. So AWS say 2.5 गुना ज़्यादा data centers or we can say regions को cover करता है Azure, and beside if you compare with the Google, so it covers we can say 7 times more than the Google DC of that. Now, G series largest VM in world, 32 cores, 448 GB RAMs and SSD. So hardware infrastructure is state apart in Azure data centers of them. So you'll find latest series of computing power, including huge, we can say RAM and storage, and we'll find multi-core processors of that. Now, this is the, we can say, Azure, we can say infrastructure due to which Azure is getting popular. So you'll find in near about in every region of the world, you'll find Azure data center there. Now, what is the advantage of having the data centers everywhere? So advantage is, we can say it will reduce the latency. So it will reduce the latency. It takes less time to load your application when you request the application. Now, what Azure provides you, so application development and hosting. So using Azure, you can build, run, and manage web or mobile or enterprise applications of them. So that is provided by the Microsoft Azure. Then data analytics tools for big data processing, database, and business intelligence. So you can do the data analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning services to create smart AI-powered solutions. So I had already told you Microsoft is working on this ML and AI from last 5, 6 years, and now we have to ML.NET and Azure AI. They are very popular tools, and using which we can create smart AI-powered solutions. So that now DevOps, so tools like Azure DevOps for streamlined software development. So it helps you to create a CI/CD pipeline, so continuous integration and continuous deployment pipeline, so that you can automate the building, testing, and deploying the application using Azure DevOps. That security and compliance, built-in layered security and governance features that will get in Microsoft Azure. Now, security, you already, if you are working with the Microsoft technology, you might already know. So Microsoft is very serious about the security and compliancing the security with that. So it's built in layered security and governance features are very high as compared to other platforms or other cloud providers. Hybrid cloud, so you have, we can say three options or there. So you can also use the public cloud. You can also have Azure on premises, or you can use the combination of both. So both are available. So three models of the cloud is available. So public cloud, we can say, you can also have your own private cloud, as well as you can have hybrid cloud. So few things in a public cloud and few things in, we can say, private cloud. Now, so what basic services provided by the we can say Azure? So what are the major services? We can say basic services, not the right word. So major services provided by the Azure. So compute services. So using compute services as an application developer, you can run the applications and code the applications. So you can design, develop, test, and implement the applications. Database services, it provides you storage applications. So it provides you on cloud database, it includes the SQL Server, Cosmos DB, and or Raven DB, or other DBs are also available there. Now, storage services, you can also use the blob and store the files there. So, database services help you to store the relational, non-relational data, structured data. Whereas if you have the non-structured data, so you can store it using storage services, and storage services Azure provides you the blob and store files also. Now, networking services. So connect and secure the applications using networking services, integration services, messaging and workflows. If you want to use the microservices and you want to use the intermediate software to do the messaging, and if you want to implement your we can say workflows in your we can say enterprise application or business application, that you can do using Azure. Security and identity, so access and protection are available in Azure. DevOps and monitoring, you can build, deploy, and monitor apps using DevOps, CI, CD pipelines of them. Now, there are, we can say, major services. So let's have the compute. So Azure App Service used to host AS.NET Core, MVC, and web applications, no server management required. So Azure Compute, we can say, provides you, we can say, app service using which you can host and run the AS.NET Core, MVC, and Web API applications. So you do not need to worry about the server management. So in Compute, we'll get this. Besides this, Azure Virtual Machines, so compute in Compute. So in Compute, we have the two services. One is Azure App Service, and another is Azure Virtual Machines. There are the two major services. We have more options also, but these are the two major, we can say, offerings provided in a compute. So one is Azure App Services. Using Azure App Services, you just need to develop your ASP.NET Core, MVC, or Web API applications, and then host it. You do not need to worry about the operating system, virtualization, server management. You don't need to worry. So you just develop the application and deploy it. Now, second option that we have in compute, Azure Virtual Machines. So Azure provides you the VMs, and if you want full control over the operating system and the services that are running inside the operating system and the server, if you want to manage entire server on your own. So instead of going to the Azure App Services, you can go to the Azure VMs. So Azure VMs will help you to get full control over the operating system needed, similar to on-premise services with that, servers with that. Now, Azure Functions, this is a newer option that we have in the compute, and using Azure Functions, you can develop the serverless applications. So you can create serverless computing. So code runs only when trigger every cost. This is very cost effective. And Azure App Service, you host your AS.NET Core, MVC, or Web API application in some server. You need to host it in some server. So you host it in a Castle or IIS or any web server, and in some VM. So, but in Azure App Service, you do not need to manage the server. So you do not need to worry about how to configure, manage, or do the stuff with the server. You just focus on the application, and you just develop and deploy that application. Whereas VM get you the, we can say, server like a physical server, but it's not physical, it's virtual, and you can control each and everything in a VM. Now, Azure has one more option called Azure Functions. Now, in Azure Functions, you do not need to worry about server. So you can create serverless applications. So you just create the functions, and those functions will deliver some service when you invoke them, when you trigger them. So it's very cost-effective option as compared to other app services and other virtual machines. So other app services is more cost-effective than the virtual machines, and Azure Functions is again very cost-effective as compared to other app services. Now databases. Now, so in databases, Azure offer you Azure SQL database. So SQL Server hosted on the we can say cloud. So fully managed SQL Server available with automatic backups, patching. Everything will be handled by the Azure. Beside the SQL Server database, we can also use the Cosmos DB used for high-scale global distributed applications of them. So if you don't want relational database, if you have some different, if you want a different kind of storage structure for your data, you can go for the Cosmos DB. And Cosmos DB is very popular for high scale, globally distributed applications. That so these two databases are available directly. Now, beside that, we have the storage. Now, these two data services will offer you to store and manipulate structured data. So, whether data is in the form of records, or data is in the form of JSON, or data is in the form of XML, or data is in the form of object tree, whatever. But structured data. If you want to manage the non-structured data, then we have storage service in Azure, and here we can configure the storage account in the blob storage, and it can be used to upload the images, documents, logs, backups, unstructured data, so that you can maintain here. So if you want to manage other type of data, then we can use the storage of them. Now integration, so Azure Service Bus used to connect applications using messaging, very important in cloud systems. So if you have the distributed application, if you want to communicate the message between those distributed application or with third-party applications, so you need, we can say, integration mechanism. And Azure Service Bus is again a very popular integration mechanism where you can communicate the message between the different parts of the same application or different applications of them. Now, if you are developing application using microservices, so you cannot do it using without Azure Service Bus. You have other options also. You can use MQTT or something, but on the cloud we have the Azure Service Bus of that. Now, Logic apps so used for integration and automation without writing much code. So Logic app will help you to, you can say, a small workflow. You can say it's like a workflow. For example, suppose if user tried to change the password, so Logic app will deliver the mail to the mail ID that particular user, if somebody is trying to change the password. So Logic app is an integration, we can say, service that will help you to do such, we can say, automations, integration automation without writing, we can say, much code with that. Now, caching, so that is again a very interesting feature that we have in Azure. So Azure Cache for Redis. So Azure is just Redis cache mechanism used to improve the performance by caching data. So huge caching is available here. And this is one of the reasons. So for caching, so Azure Redis, we can say Redis. So Redis service of that. So DevOps and monitoring. So if you want to do the application, or if you want to configure the CI/CD pipelines and do the project management, we can use the Azure DevOps. So previously, I think it's called TFS, Team Foundation Services or server. So Azure DevOps can be used for continuous integration, continuous deployment. You can create the pipelines for your application, which will help you to automate, we can say, building, testing, and delivering or deploying the applications automatically. Also, you can do the project management and monitor the application. The application insights is again very interesting feature. You might witness this feature in Visual Studio also. In Visual Studio, we have the application insight, which will help you to do the monitoring of your application logging. So which part of application doing what and how much time it takes and where are the bottlenecks and how we can reduce that you can do using application insights of them. Now, these services together form the foundation of the most Azure cloud application. Besides this, you'll find many other services. There are hundreds of services there. But these are the major services provided by the Microsoft Azure there. And these services together form the foundation of the most Azure cloud applications now. Now, why .NET developer feel stuck? So आज के डेट का सिनेरियो देखोगे तो मैक्सिमम लोग जो .NET में एज डेवलपर काम कर रहे हैं या एप्लीकेशन डेवलप कर रहे हैं या फिर जॉब कर रहे हैं तो दे फाइंड और फील stuck somewhere. So why the situation is like that? So narrow tech focus. So AS.NET narrow tech focus there. So first reason is the .NET developers right now working in the industry, they had very narrow technology focus. They are working only on few technology like ASP.NET MVC or Web API or SQL Server with MVC or Web API SQL Server only. Maximum developer working with these technologies and few are using some client-side things like React or Angular or we can say Vue.js or Next.js, and they are doing the application or stuff. So they are writing the code around this particular technology with that. Now, so mostly maintenance project or legacy code. So right now, maximum .NET developers are working on a maintenance project. They are maintaining existing applications by patching the bugs or fixing the bugs or rewriting the code or doing some changes inside the code. legacy code or adding some additional requirement of the client in the existing application then. So limited greenfield or modern architecture work. So not that much we can say scope to learn we can say new things from modern architecture or things of that. With this narrow tech focus and maintenance project of that. Now, no cloud deployment experience, so that is again one we can say limitation with the .NET developers working right now. So, Mrs. Cloud Native, we can say expectation from employers. So, maximum employers are expecting that the .NET developer should have some exposure to, good exposure to cloud native application development to them. And right now, maximum developers who are working on .NET technologies or applications they have this problem, narrow tech focus, mostly maintenance project, legacy code, small enhancements, so not exposure to the cloud, not exposure to the modern architecture and workflows with them. So, and right now, employees need all these things. So, app deployed manually or by DevOps team. So, deployment experience is very less or less exposure to, we can say, deployment of the. So, maximum developers do not have any kind of deployment exposure. Generally, the deployment team is different, and DevOps team will manage the deployment of that. So, no hands-on delivery or automation ownership of that. So these are the we can say some reasons. So due to which .NET developers feel stuck. Now, one more thing that no experience with CI/CD pipelines. Maximum .NET developers having 2 to 5 years of experience or 6 years of experience, they do not have that much exposure to CI/CD pipelines for that. So gaps in we can say automation and fast delivery practices of that. Now, no exposure to cloud database or serverless applications of that. So, since cloud databases or serverless application exposure not available, they miss scalability, manage data, compute patterns, no exposure to all these things of that. Now, stalled role growth despite years of experience, so very less growth or feel we can say neglected or we can say stuck even though writing the .NET code from many years. So years in the code only do not equal border delivery skills. So right now the time is they need to upgrade. So they need to upgrade themselves to we can say various things so that they will get exposure to this. So what we recommend right now, so we are recommending two paths for .NET developers who is having. Give me a minute, I'll open the notepad. So one is, so we are those .NET developers those have 2 to we can say 6 years of experience. So we are recommending them to go to the cloud with that. So switch to the cloud. And those has experience 5 to we can say 10 years. They can also go for this. So cloud not a problem, but they have beside cloud they have one more option. So they can go for we can say solution architect thing with that. So not exactly solution architect, but to various we can say architectures and patterns and design patterns, including the microservices or Kubernetes or we can say Azure, .NET Aspire or we can say clean architecture, Onion architecture, or different kind of architectures, SOA architectures. So right now I'm telling you this particular path, cloud path there. So later on, we'll also introduce a course for a different path there. So why Azure is the best choice for the .NET developer? So if you want to upgrade yourself to the cloud experience, cloud exposure, so you want to get the exposure for CI/CD, or if you want to get exposure for we can say other functions, so developing serverless applications or understanding the delivery patterns or cloud infrastructure, consume the cloud database scaling and all these things of that. So the first choice I will always tell the .NET developer to go for Azure. So why Azure best for the .NET choices? Azure is natively built for .NET, C Sharp, and SQL Server. So initially, so Azure was basically designed for this particular technologies of them, and now it had grown and it supports lot many technologies. but Microsoft always has additional edge for its native technology. It has some special or additional services that works with .NET platforms that now used by 90% enterprise companies. If you look at to any enterprise companies from automobile to your, we can say trading or retail, you'll find the large enterprise applications are hosted and deployed using Microsoft Azure. Now, deep integration with, we can say, Visual Studio, so GitHub and Azure DevOps and Visual Studio Code and whatever the .NET platform technology, so that you are familiar with, ASP.NET Core, MVC or ASP.NET Web API with them. So it's deeply integrated with all Microsoft technologies there. So that will be the added advantage for them. Strong demand in MNCs or product companies or startup for them, used by more than 90% enterprise companies of that. So Microsoft continuously investing in Azure AI and machine learning and cloud security, DevOps automation. So a lot many things, quantum computing. So Microsoft is also working on the quantum computing of that. So a lot many things Microsoft is working, and all this technology will be in line with, or we can say, Microsoft Azure. That. So Azure AI is on the Azure. The ML.NET you can use without Azure, or you can also use through Azure. So cloud security, DevOps automation, and quantum computing, cyber security. So all these things will be more or will be integrated with the Microsoft Azure and used to Microsoft Azure now. So if you're a .NET developer, so Azure gives you the fastest career growth. So learning curve is less and you can grow fast. Now, so what are the, we can say, career roles in, we can say, Microsoft Azure then? So if you look at the development, so you have the two options here. So Azure developer, so build and deploy cloud applications, and DevOps engineer, so you can configure CI/CD automation and deployments of that. Now, so two options that we have in development, we can say life cycle of your application. So Azure developer, or we can say DevOps engineer of them. Now, operations, if you want to upgrade yourself, to operations, so we have the Azure Cloud Engineer, so manage cloud infrastructure and services of that. Now, cloud administrator monitoring and security access control. So you're doing administration stuff into this particular role with that. Now, if you go for architecture level, so if you want to upgrade to solution architect and other roles of that, so long-term growth, so design scale cloud systems of that. So we can say there are the five major, we can say roles that will have in Azure. But as a .NET developer, so I'll recommend you to go or upgrade from .NET developer to Azure developer and then DevOps engineer then. And then you can go to the solution architect if you want to go for that. So you can go for the solution architect, because for solution architect, I think companies need 10 to 15 years or 18 years or 20 years of experience. So if you go through this particular pipeline, so long-term growth will be available. Now, so there are the, we can say five, we can say roles in learning the Azure app. So Azure Cloud Engineer roadmap. So what technologies you need to go for? So the first thing that you need to go for the cloud fundamentals. So you learn the cloud concepts, Azure basics, app services and storage, establish core knowledge. That will be the first step. Now, in second step, you can go for cloud native development. So build serverless application and data skills with the Azure functions, Cosmos DB, Service Plus, and Redis Cache. In the next step, so you can upgrade to, in the next step, you can upgrade to DevOps and automation. So implement CI/CD and we can say act for using Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions and infrastructure as a code of that. And final that you can go for the Microsoft certification and the projects. So complete real world project and prepare for AGED 900 and AGED 204. So 900 and 204 certification exams with that. Fine. Now, this is the roadmap to for the Azure Cloud Engineer. So first go for the cloud fundamental, then go for cloud native development and DevOps and automation and production certification. So what skills you need? So Azure fundamentals you need, Azure app services you need. So Azure SQL and Cosmos DB you need, storage account and block storage you need, Azure function serverless applications you need. So Azure service bus messaging you need here. Now, beside this, so you need Azure Cache for ADS, so logic apps, and then Azure DevOps, and we need infrastructure as a code. So Bicep, this is the new thing, little advanced thing, so that you can use Bicep also. So these are the 10, we can say, major skills you need to be fully cloud engineer of them. Now, so what we did, so we had done some PNC and combined these things and created two courses for, we can say, .NET developers. Those we can offer to you. So what we can do is, so the first course that we had designed is, so Azure Cloud Developer Foundation. So it will cover maximum concepts from your Microsoft Azure 900, Azure 900, which is a certification, plus pass for the .NET professionals of that. So here you can use platform as a service for the .NET professionals of that. Now, the second that we had designed here is Azure Cloud Native and DevOps Engineer. So that will cover the Azure 204, so Azure Certification 204 oriented and real project based here. So here we'll have the live project of them. Now, I'll just give you the outline of this particular course. So first is, so your Azure Cloud Developer Foundation, and this course is designed for .NET developers who want to enter in the cloud world confidently. And you will learn the Azure fundamentals, core PaaS services, and deploy real .NET applications in Microsoft Azure. Now, what you learn in this particular course, so cloud computing concepts, ISaaS, PaaS, so other fundamentals, Azure 900 essentials, what we need for this particular certification. Other app services we are going to learn. Now, Azure SQL database of that, so that we are going to cover here. So storage accounts in the blog and secure configuration and scaling with that. Now, these are the major topics that we are going to cover. So, detailed topic, madam will communicate you on the WhatsApp or your mail ID. Now, who should join? So, .NET developers, at least we can say 0 to 5 years, saying, but at least 1 year, 1 to 5 years of experience that we need. Full stack developers and freshers are working professionals, developers new to cloud. So, if you already have, we can say, fundamental knowledge of the cloud, you do not need to go for this. But if you are new to the cloud, so you can go for this. So duration around this course will be around 34 to 38 hours. Weekend or weekdays, we are planning it online. So you can attend it online, and we'll also provide you the recordings of the sessions of that. Now, what outcomes you'll do? So Azure Fundamental ready and confident with Azure portal, able to deploy .NET applications on Azure. And this is the fee structure. So we are rescheduling this. So Madam will communicate the fee structure of that. Now, yeah. So second course that we have is Azure Cloud Native and DevOps Engineer. And this is will recommend you to go for this pretty course only when you had completed the first course. Now, this advanced program is for professionals who want to build enterprise-grade cloud-native applications using Azure services, messaging, caching, and DevOps automation with that. Now, here, so what you learn, so Azure functions and serverless, Azure app configuration, so Cosmos DB, so Azure Service Bus, Azure Cache for Redis, logic apps, and Azure DevOps CI/CD pipelines of that, and biceps. Fine. So these are the major topics that will be covered in this particular, we can say, training with them. So who can join? So developers who had completed course one or should have at least 50% knowledge in the previous from the previous course of them. Now, working professionals, at least here two is mentioned, but I'll recommend you at least 3 to 10 years of experience of that. So developers targeting cloud engineer or we can say DevOps roles. Now, its duration will be around, we can say, 50 hours, we can say, so 40 to 48 hours. We are planning 3 days a week or Saturday, Sunday weekend and online mode. So this will be, now its fee structure will be again communicated by the madam. Now, cloud native development mindset. So this will be the outcome of this particular course. So CI/CD DevOps ready. So you will have the syllabus of this particular course is aligned with Azure certification 204 and enterprise project experience of them. Now here we are giving you the complete overview of how enterprise application from start to end, start to end of them start to end. So not only up to deployment, but also for monitoring and the performance tuning or application insights and all these things of that. Now, this piece will be again, we are going to offer some different to the analytics student to them. Now, okay, fine. So there is one more important thing that you need to worry here is this program is not just for certification preparation that you need to keep it in mind. It's not a certification preparation program. So what we did, we had taken maximum things from your certification syllabus plus the things those are not in certification track but required in real world application by the industry, and we had combined them and we had designed this particular we can say course for them. So if you are just planning to crack the certifications, it's not for you. It's aligned with the certifications, but it's not only to crack the certification, because cracking the certification is a different, we can say, story. It's not about the learning and implementing the application. It's only about the satisfying the, we can say, satisfying or working on only question answer type of thing with them. So it's just not for certification preparation, but we'll guide you to go for the certification. We'll also provide you the contacts. Those will help you to get certified with Microsoft Azure. And here, so this is not a certification only course. Now, skills aligned with Azure 900 and Azure 204, we can say certification. The skill aligned, but it's not only to crack the certification. Now, focused on real world and DevOps skills of them. So it's more over real world application development and DevOps skills of them, designed to help you to grow beyond full stack developer. It's designed to upgrade your .NET skills to, we can say, cloud or Azure, Microsoft Azure. Now learn how real cloud projects are built and deployed. So that is the main focus of this both the course of that. And it's aligned with the certification, but it's not the main focus. Now career oriented, not exam oriented. That you need to worry here. Fine. Now this is